rise from your grave.
Hey, what's the word, players? We are back with another installment of non-horror games that scared me, where, as the name suggests, we look at a few non-horror games that scared me as a kid, with the last game on the list being one that still haunts me to this day. Feel free to check out the playlist of the games that we've covered previously. Otherwise, let's get started. Let's get this one out of the way really quick, because honestly, when's the next time I'll get to talk about Bug 2? Well, probably never, unless you guys want me to talk about it in depth. So Bug 2, Bug 2? Never mind, I'm not shouting this name every time. Bug 2 was developed by Real Time Associates and Segasoft in 1997 for the Sega Saturn. It is a sequel to Bug. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not doing that. I honestly have no clue how I even got Bug 2. I don't know if it was like a family friend or if I got Bug 2 for whatever reason. For the longest time, I thought I totally made up this game in my head because honestly, who's talking about Bug 2 of all things? It wasn't until I was about probably in middle school when I, for whatever reason, was looking up old Sega Saturn games and I saw this and it literally unlocked the core memory in my head when I saw it. In any case, Bug 2 is a 2.5D platformer where not only can you move left and right like a traditional 2D platformer, but you can also move up and down. Not quite fully 3D, especially since this was around the time Super Mario 64 came out, but we're taking baby steps towards 3D at this point. The plot of Bug 2 is that Bug, Maggot Dog, and Superfly, no, not that one,
Super Dude, Superfly,
are tasked to film 6 films, but the catch is that they have to film 6 films in a single day, with the films acting as this game's levels. The first movie set is a horror theme called The Evil Dead 2. I did not get far in this game at all because I was too terrified of the setting being the first stage of the game. I was probably like 3 or 4 when I first got this game, so cut me some slack, man. Come on, you got this creepy castle in the background and you also got this fog that not only sets the mood, but also can affect your platforming. The sound design really carries because the moans of the ghosts and whatever the zombies are saying had me shaking in my boots. Loser? Loser? I'll be completely honest, I have no idea what this game looks like past The Evil Dead, because when I went back to revisit this game for this video, I got stuck on this one section and I got really frustrated because I kept falling off over and over and over again, and because I had so many other games I had to play, I had to stop there for now. But it's on my bucket list. I want to at least see what is the next movie set after this, and if I happen to go ahead and beat the whole game, even better. But for now, let's book off Bug 2 and head to the next game.
Crash, crash, crash. Why can't you get another platformer after Crash 4?
Crash 3 Warped was my first entry in the Crash Bandicoot series, and if there was ever a game that I would love to try to speedrun, it would probably be this game. Mainly because when I was still like super young and super smooth brain at the time, and I didn't understand the concept of saving or loading or how to use a memory card. So I totally thought that you had to try to beat the game in one sitting. So I replayed a lot of the early levels in this game as much as possible because I tried to get as further and further and further as possible to complete as much of this game before I had to turn off the PlayStation. I thought you had to beat this in one sitting. That's what you're supposed to do with arcade games, right? But it didn't matter because I totally loved playing Crash 3. The plot of Crash 3 picks up right after the end of Crash 2. Your job this time is to collect time crystals across time, and also collect the gems if you're going for the best ending. There was one level called Boneyard, which is the first prehistoric level in Crash 3. In this level, instead of running forward, you run towards the camera. Now, if you've played the previous 2 Crash games, you already know what to expect here, but this was my first one in the series, so I was really confused about this change in perspective. You hop down the ledge and you see a few crates in front of you. Naturally, your instinct is to go and break them, but suddenly a Triceratops bursts through the bone gate like he's Kool-Aid Man.
oh yeah, uh-oh, huh?
But instead of offering you a refreshing sugary drink, the Triceratops instead opts to crush Crash under its crusty toes. I don't like being chased in video games, and this was absolutely a jump scare. So it didn't take long for it to kill me, and I had to start over again. So this time I had the bright idea, maybe if I sneak by very quietly, it won't hear me and I can get to the rest of the level without being chased. So I tried just that, and yeah, sure enough, it didn't work. He still chased me. I swear, this thing scared me so much that I was not paying attention to the crates I needed to break or the Wumpa fruit I needed to collect on the way, which was not great because those actually are a helpful way to navigate around the different obstacles that you're not gonna see ahead of you. One of those obstacles being the pterodactyls. And oftentimes I would accidentally jump into the arms of a pterodactyl who would carry Crash off and probably have a tasty bandicoot lunch. After lots of trial and error, I finally managed to get the Triceratops to slip and was able to go through the level at my own pace. Finally. I get to this point in the level where I see this thing in the water, but I can't quite make out what this is. And mind you, this was when we still had CRTs at the time, so I really was like trying to figure out what is this thing. So I get closer, then get closer, only to find out that it's one of Cortez's men who proceeds to drag Crash underneath the water. Okay, getting dragged underwater is a new fear I didn't know I had. Once you get past the boneyard level, the rest of the game's not that bad. Well, outside of the underwater section, we have to deal with these killer eels that if they catch you, they drag you in and probably feasting on Crash. And in that same level, you have to contend with sharks. But you know, everything after that, everything else is smooth sailing. Well, okay, it's smooth sailing up until you reach the level Tomb Time, and right away you see one of the first problems.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Bro, I had a deep fear of snakes at this time, and that sucker is huge. Luckily, you can dispatch them like any other enemy in the game by spinning into them or sliding into them. But dude, I still hated these things. That's pretty scary, right? But you know what's even scarier? You not being subscribed to this channel. Now that's terrifying. Feel free to hit the subscribe button if you so choose if you'd like to see more videos about Christianity, JRPGs, fighting games, and platformers, and all other game genres in between. Okay, back to the show. It seems that Naughty Dog knew about my fear of snakes because when the PS2 came, they were working on the next game after Crash, which was Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. Quite the jump from Crash, which was essentially hallway platformers, to now go for a Super Mario 64 collectathon aspect. You play as Jak, and you are tasked with collecting power cells to unlock your progress in the story. One of the areas they have to explore is the Forbidden Jungle, and one of the first things that greet you is a snake that hangs from the tree.
I hate snakes, Chuck! I hate them!
Come on, Naughty Dog, why you gotta do this to me? And since Jak was a much larger game than all the other games I've played up to this point, I wasn't sure how big this forest was. So I was always on the edge of a snake dropping down, and knowing how much of an active imagination I had as a kid, I know for a fact that I would have that fear of snakes hanging from trees in real life as well. But eventually I would make my way through the Forbidden Jungle, collect the power cells that I needed, and then next make my way over to Sentinel Beach. Nothing like kicking back, relaxing, and collecting some power cells and precursor orbs. Though just be careful that you don't swim too far out, because all of a sudden you might hear your heart racing, hear a growl, and you see something in the water. You don't make it back to shore or shallow water, well, you just became lunch to a lurker shark, and it doesn't matter how much health you have, it will kill you in one hit. I gotta say, that's an interesting and organic way of implementing barriers to mask invisible walls, but come on, man, do we have to do sharks? Jaws already gave me a fear of the water. I don't need this as well. Let's take a look at one more game from Naughty Dog. Uncharted: Drake's Fortune. The first game is often overlooked because the sequels are so much better, but it's a great foundation for the series. You play as Nathan Drake, and he is on a journey to uncover the treasure that Sir Francis Drake was looking for. Taking inspiration of the cover shooting mechanics of Gears of War and the pulp treasure hunting adventures of Indiana Jones
I hate snakes, Chuck!
and Lara Croft's Tomb Raider, Uncharted starts off as a fun third-person shooter with platforming elements that doesn't take itself too seriously. But then you start to get towards the end of the game, and the game takes a turn. Before I go any further, there's going to be a massive spoiler here, so yes, the game's been out for forever now, but if you are interested in not knowing what it is, You can feel free to go here or go to the timestamp of the next game that I'm gonna talk about. So at first, Nate, Sully, and Elena think that they're looking for El Dorado, the lost city of gold. But then they find out that instead of a city of gold, it was a gold statue. It appears that people worshipped it. Side note, don't worship false gods or put up idols. Psalm 97 verse 9. For you, Lord, are the most high above all the earth. You are exalted far above all gods. But as it turns out, it's not a statue either. It's a cursed sarcophagus, and by opening it, unleashes the ashy mummy dust that, when inhaled, mutated the Spaniards and German Nazis. Oh, yes, the Nazis were somehow involved in this story. They turned into pharaoh golem slash zombie-like creatures called the Descendants. No, not that one. So what started as a fun treasure hunt has now turned into a save the world mission to prevent El Dorado falling into the wrong hands. And man, what a turn. I was not emotionally ready for this point because this straight up turns into a survival horror game. Something tells me this is not going to be the last time I say something along those lines. Dude, I hated fighting the Descendants because they look creepy, they sound creepy, they crawl on all fours, move really fast, and they are really strong. And it doesn't help that if given the chance, they can pounce on Nate and start gnawing on him. When I first got to this chapter, it took me about a good solid week to muster up the courage to get through it because, again, I was just not ready for this man. I will say, out of all the supernatural twist enemies that the first 3 games had, as much as I hate these things, I think the Descendants take the cake. They just left a lasting impression on me because of how terrifying they were. Nowadays, Naughty Dog is known for the Last of Us series, where they fully embrace telling the stories of the horrors of man and mutated humans. Now, I don't know if the Descendants from Uncharted Drake's Fortune served as one of the inspirations for the infected in The Last of Us, but one thing's for sure, Naughty Dog's got that dog in them when it comes to the scares. While we're on the topic of talking about thieves that are just really cool, let's talk about Sly Cooper. One of the big 3 PS2 mascots alongside Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper is a very special series in my heart alongside the Sonic series. The Saturday morning / comic book vibe, the great storytelling, great characters, what's not to love about it? Well, as it turns out, there's one thing that I don't love about it, and it's one location in particular that has this game on the list. So the story of Sly Cooper and the Devious Raccoonist is that Sly belongs to a long family history of thieves that specialize in robbing from other thieves. They chronicled their stories and moves in a family tome called The Devious Raccoonist. On the night that Sly was supposed to inherit the book, the villainous group called the Fiendish Five ransacked his home, killed his father, and made off with the pages of The Devious Raccoonist. When Sly turned 18, him and his group of friends, Bentley and Murray, sought to take down the Fiendish Five to recover his family history. After bodying Raleigh the Frog and Mugshot, the trail leads the gang to Haiti, where one of the members, Miss Ruby, resides. A practitioner of voodoo and mystic powers over the undead, naturally her hideout is just as creepy and dark as she is. Dude, this level absolutely gave me the chills as a kid. You have a waterfall or a swamp fall of bones falling down. You got giant mosquitoes that suck the blood out of you. Giant spiders that hang from the trees. Well, at least I'll take giant spiders hanging from the trees than giant snakes. You got ghosts that keep spawning until you destroy the gravestones. And you got these weird creatures that don't move until you get close to them. Then they start chasing you down. And when you hit them, the head separates from the body and they operate separately. Really creepy. The setting is so creepy, but there's one level in particular that I have to talk about, and that is the level, The Lair of the Beast. Right off the bat, you come across this large gate, and Sly and Bentley make this observation.
What's with this industrial strength voodoo gate? Miss Ruby must really be trying to keep something out.
Or maybe she's trying to keep something in.
As you progress through the level, Bentley starts to get more and more concerned about Sly's safety. But then he notices that the reeds are moving, which means that there's something underneath, and then he tells Sly he has to get out of there.
Whoa! Did you see those reeds move? There's something huge under there. You better get going.
As Sly makes his way through the swamp, he finally discovers who this beast is. It's him. Oh wait, my bad. Wrong beast. It's this beast, a giant snake.
Why did it have to be?
Shut up!
Similar to a Crash Bandicoot chase sequence, you run towards the camera to avoid becoming the beast's next meal. I was so scared of this thing that I kept dying in this section over and over again because I was so focused on running away that I kept messing up Sly's thieving moves by mashing the circle button and would end up either landing on the wrong thing, landing on the thing behind me rather than in front of me, or I would just find some sort of way to mess up. This is the level where I died the most and got the most game overs. Because yes, Sly 1 does have a lives system that future games would do away with. And of course, having a game over meant having to play the beginning of this level again. Man, at this point, just give me the other beast. I'd rather lose to him than having to deal with this monstrosity. So for context for these next two games, during the 6th gen console generation, I had the GameCube, PS2, and a GBA. It was during this period that my parents had separated, and while I lived with my mom, my dad had moved out, and when he got his own place, he got himself an Xbox. Now, eventually, my parents would patch things up, and my dad would move back with us, and he brought his Xbox. So now I had all three consoles. Now, truthfully, I was pretty content with the game systems that I already had, but there were a few Xbox exclusives that I really wanted to get my hands on, and now I finally had the chance to. And coincidentally, these two games that I really wanted to play are the last two games on this list. I really loved playing Devil May Cry 3 and Kingdom Hearts, and I really wanted to play another hack and slash or character action game, whatever this genre is called. I want more of it. I'd heard about Ninja Gaiden through G4 Tech TV back in the day, and I thought this game looked super cool.
Shadow fighters. Try to finish them off without taking too much damage to yourself. If you lose more than a fifth of your health, restart and try again.
Especially since the main character is a ninja, and I don't know what it was about the 2000s, but ninjas were like a really cool thing. When my dad moved back with his Xbox, I knew I had to get Ninja Gaiden. I wasn't sure if he'd let me get the game because it was rated M for mature, and I was definitely not at the appropriate age rating for the game. But surprisingly, he was okay with getting it for me. So in hindsight, he did also let me get Devil May Cry 3 before Ninja Gaiden. That's also M for mature. I guess he just didn't care about age ratings back then. Before I go any further, I do want to take a moment to say rest in peace, Itagaki-san. From all the interviews that I've seen on him on G4 and just how he presented himself online and the whole beef he had with Harada and the Tekken series, as it turns out, he was actually a pretty cool and nice guy. Once again, rest in peace. The game I got was Ninja Gaiden Black, which I heard was an improvement over the original game. And boy, this game did not hold your hand at all. It is very easy to die in the tutorial chapter if you do not know how to block, dodge, keep moving, and most importantly, know how to fight with enemies off screen. You play as Ryu Hayabusa in this reboot giant question mark of the original arcade and NES games. The Hayabusa village gets attacked, and his clan and the Shrine Maiden get wiped out by a dude called Doku, who's there to steal the Dark Dragon Blade. Ryu faces Doku, but is killed by him by the sword his village sought to protect. But Ryu gets resurrected and is on a quest for vengeance. Ryu proceeds to make a stylish entrance into the Vigor Empire, and on his quest he fights ninjas, the military, and these things called beings. There's a lot of fiends out there, but to boil it down, there are two types: pure blood fiends and half-blood fiends. The half-blood fiends are the ones that are humans that were mutated due to their cursed blood. In Chapter 6, the monastery, you reach, well, the Fiend Monastery, and one of the things that you find in it is a library where you can read up on Gregorian history. There are texts written about the monks seeing fiends raised from the dead, and they wanted to recreate it themselves. Please leave the raising of the dead to Jesus, thank you very much. It's not written what the result of that was, but you later find out when Ryu is going through the underground cemetery and you come across a new enemy type, the undead ghoul, aka really tall, annoying zombies. Seriously? In a ninja game I can't escape zombies? They carry big heavy weapons that do big damage, and if you're not careful when you get up close to them, like the zombies they are, they can grab you and start chomping away at you. I really hated fighting the ghouls, and it's not just because they scared me at the time, which was definitely a big factor, but as I said, these things are annoying. They can't get stunned easily like other enemies in the game. They take a lot of hits, and oh my gosh, I seriously remember the archers being a huge pain. They do so much damage, can cause so much knockback when they hit you, and for some reason, their accuracy is way too good. But as annoying as the ghouls from Ninja Gaiden are, there's still one more enemy type that has them beat as the scariest, and it's going to be our last game on the list, which is actually going to be the second Xbox exclusive game that I was really looking forward to besides Ninja Gaiden, that being Halo. I wasn't the biggest first-person shooter kind of guy. I would eventually dabble in the genre with stuff like Metroid Prime, if you consider Metroid Prime a first-person shooter, Time Splitters 2, and randomly enough, Project Snowblind. I don't even know how I came across this game, but nothing could top Halo. That was the talk of the town. With an Xbox on hand, I can finally dive into the series. At this point, I think Halo 2 was already out, but I wanted to play Halo 1 first. I probably don't even need to go over what the plot of Halo is, but really quickly, you play as a super soldier Master Chief. You are accompanied by an AI named Cortana. You and the Marines crash on a ring world called Halo, and you have to fight this alien race called the Covenant. Now, upon discovering that Halo is a weapon, the initial goal is to turn it against the Covenant before they use it on Earth. However, Cortana makes a discovery that there is an alien race that even the Covenant are afraid of, and Master Chief's captain, Captain Keyes, is about to make a grave mistake of accidentally freeing this race.
Something buried? Where?
The captain. We've got to stop the captain.
Keys?
The weapons cache he's looking for. It's not really... We can't let him get inside.
I don't understand.
There's no time. Get out of here, find Keys, stop him. Before it's too late!
This takes us to Chapter 343, Guilty Spark. Chief heads to the last known location of Captain Keyes, which leads him to this swampy area. There's a few grunts and jackals here, but they seem freaked out, and someone or something is attacking them. You go into the underground facility and you see the aftermath of some gruesome battle. You just see corpses lying everywhere. As you're exploring, you find this lone crazed Marine that's still alive, but he's seen some things.
Stay back! Stay back! You're not turning me into one of those things! I'll blow your brains out! Get away from me! Ah! Ah! Don't touch me, you freaks! I won't be like you, I'll die first! Find your own hiding place, the monsters are everywhere!
He's saying things, but you don't fully comprehend what his ramblings are. But as you proceed deeper underground, you find a helmet cam recording of a deceased Marine to catch what happened in their final moments. That's when you see the very thing that the Covenant are afraid of. They're called the Flood.
Where's that coming from, Mendoza? I don't... There! Mira! Hold still! Hold still! Let him have it! Ah! Sergeant, we're surrounded. Jenkins, fire your weapon! There are too many, Sarge! Don't even think about it, Marine. Oh, this is local! Back here, Marine. That's an order.
A parasite race that took out the Marines in the Covenant and are now unleashed to kill and add Master Chief among their number. The little ones are called pods, and they swarm in overwhelming numbers to take down their prey. Once infected, they take over the host body in very grotesque ways. And with these new combat forms ready, these things can do serious damage. They gain the ability to super jump, grow large tentacle-like limbs to swipe at you. They can operate firearms, and like the pods, they overwhelm you in large numbers, alongside another form called the carrier forms, which are hosts that explode and on their explosion release more pods. Bungie did such a good job of setting this up, and like what Uncharted would go on to do years after this game came out, the game shifts from fun shooter to survival horror. Funny enough, when I was replaying Halo 1 for footage for this video, it had been at least a decade or two since I last played. It was pretty nostalgic going through it, and this time, now that I'm older, I can actually pay attention to the dialogue rather than just tune it out for more action. But the night before, I had to record the section where I finally encounter the Flood at 343 Guilty Spark. Legit, I kid you not, I had a nightmare about the Flood. It was bad enough where I actually jumped out of bed and was like breathing heavily. It was like the thought of having to encounter them again, even though I hadn't played this game in many years, was enough to affect me deeply. And you know what the crazy thing is? I still think the Flood are terrifying. Man, when I was going through 343 Guilty Spark in the library, I was freaking out internally and my heart was racing. And it didn't help that the difficulty that I played on was heroic, whereas previously when I would play this when I was younger, I only played on normal, so that was definitely a different experience. I kept dying over and over again, and I gotta say, seeing the pod enemies swarm Chief's lifeless body when he dies, ugh, it's kind of disturbing. But honestly, when I was recording this, I can't tell what killed me more. A grunt that got super lunky and landed a plasma grenade on me, or the combat form Floods that have the pistol, the shotgun, and especially the rocket launcher. I despise the rocket launcher Flood. They somehow managed to one-shot me every single time without fail. Can someone explain to me why is it that there are 2 games now where the zombies are really good shots? Well, hopefully this is the first and last sci-fi first-person shooter that turns into a survival horror game that I've played, and there wasn't another one like that. Right? Right?
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine.
And those are all the non-horror games that scared me, and believe me, there's a lot more games that I could talk about. I don't know how I feel about that. Let me know down below if there were any non-horror games that scared you. If you're looking for a non-denominational church, down in the description below will be a link to a church locator. Also down there you'll find 2 Discord links, one for my Discord and one for the Christian Fighting Game Community Discord. Feel free to join those if you would like. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you are so inclined, feel free to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching everyone, happy Halloween, and until next time, peace.